Hi everyone, Jane here. Thank you so much for watching today and welcome to you all. Today I am working in the large ledger journal from Dylusions, not to be confused with the Dina Wakley ledger journal. And I wanted to work on a big scale today. I wanted to do something a bit industrial, a bit layered, a bit mixed media and a bit grungy. So I'm starting off with some collage. When you've got a really big blank space like there is in this journal, which is a mixed media paper, not a watercolour paper, it's can be a little bit daunting. So I like to start off either with a lot of colour splashed on my page or with collage because you can very quickly build up a background. So I am building up two areas in this spread. One at the top left hand side and one on the bottom right hand side, although they will sort of spread out a little bit. And I'm going in to start with some Stamperia or Stamperia, I never know which way to say it, rice paper. Now I will in the description box put a list of the things I've used. This one, I don't know what collection it was from. It's quite an older collection, I would say. But it has got a code on the packaging, so I will add that in if you want to type that into the internet to find out what it is. I am using the Liquitex matte medium, the professional version. This is just my personal favourite medium to use, but as I always say, just use whatever you have. If you've got glue sticks, you want to use glue sticks. If you've got gel medium, if you've got proper collage like rice paper glue, I know Stamperia make their own glue for their rice papers, you know, whatever you've got, use that. This just happens to be the one that I like to use. I like the viscosity, I love that word, and how fluid it is. I think that means the same thing. And it's a nice easy one for me to use. So I am just building up the base of my collage to start with, and I had already decided what my focal points were going to be. You will see them a bit later on in the video. So I had already cut those out. I had backed them onto white cardstock because I knew they were going to have to be a little bit more substantial than usual, and they were all ready to go. So I was choosing my background based on what I knew I wanted to create. So once I'd layered down that rice paper from Stamperia, I am adding in some of the Tim Holtz Ideaology paper. Now this is the Typeset collage paper, and it is, oh, I think it's collage tissue. I'm not sure. It's a very thin paper. It's more like a tissue paper, and even though it's like a tissue paper, it's still quite, you know, substantial, and you can really like be quite, I'm quite robust, safe to say, with my collage papers. And it gives a bit of a translucent look when you add it over the top because it's on that white background. So when you add the medium that you're using to stick it down, it will go a bit translucent so you can still see what's beneath it. And that's why it was a nice one to add in over the top of the Stamperia rice paper, which was a bit more substantial, a bit more opaque and a bit more colourful. So the black and white go quite nicely over the top, I find, because you can still see a bit of the coloured background beneath. Then I am going in with some bits of washi tape. These are both from Aall and Create. I'm not sure the names of them because, you know, it's a long time since I ever took the packaging off of them. But they are both Aall and Create washi tapes. And I just take a bit, tear it up. The wider one I tore into 3 pieces, and the slightly thinner one I tore into 2 pieces, and I'm just adding them in vertical and horizontal lines because that's just how I like to work. You know, sometimes people might want to do all different things. Now you will notice that my cluster of collage paper at the top left is a bit smaller than the one on the bottom right, and that's because I knew the size of what I was going to be putting down. Now I let that collage glue all dry, and then I went in with some texture paste from Pretty Gets Gritty and this stencil also by Pretty Gets Gritty, which is lots of numbers and called Dial In. Now there's a little number 2 on there that is a bit of a pain and just keeps catching me slightly off guard when I put the texture paste down, but as I often say, when I am doing my art journaling, I know that things are going to be in the background, or even if they're not, it's in my art journal. This is for fun. This is for me to play. This is for me to experiment with things. This is just for me to have a nice time. I'm not selling this. I am not, you know, displaying it in a gallery, it's just for me and you if you want to watch. But I'm going in with the texture paste. On the left hand side I did like 2 parts, and on the right hand side I've just done it in 3 different areas. And then I left that to dry. Now I left it to dry overnight. I just find that easier for me, then I don't keep touching it and I don't keep messing with it. So I knew that when I got to it the next day, it was going to be totally dry. And now I'm just going over with some clear gesso, again from Liquitex. I just like that brand for their mediums. It's again the professional brand, and it's got a bit of a grit, this clear gesso. So if you are looking for one that is very smooth, this is not the gesso for you. The clear one certainly is slightly gritty. Not so much with the white one. I don't think that is gritty actually, but the clear one definitely is. So whilst the clear gesso was still wet, I went in with a little bit of water and a little bit of the white gesso, also from the same brand. It's a little bit confusing because the bottles look very similar, but it does say on it somewhere that one is clear and one is not. Well, I think the white one just says gesso, the other one says clear. And then I made sure that this was all dry before I moved on to the next step, which was to add some colour. I debated what I was going to use, and in the end I decided to go for watercolour. So that gesso that I put down is giving me a nice surface to work on top of. I could have used a watercolour ground over the top as well, and that would have been a really good surface as well for watercolour, but I find the gesso is perfectly fine. Again, I'm not trying for perfection, I am just playing around, I'm just getting the colour down. So I decided to use mostly the core watercolours, and the colours that I decided to go with were to sort of represent rusty metal kind of look. I put water down first, and I'm adding lots of water in. I wanted to really get them flowing, and every now and again you might see me spritz a little bit of water over the top as well. And the colours I went for were the Naples yellow, Quinacridone gold, and then I do believe it's a raw umber. I then decided I wanted to add in a little bit of a greeny blue tone as well, so I actually used the Rosa Gallery turquoise for that, just to have a little bit of contrast, a bit more of a patinery look. Now you will see that I did leave in where I was drying my page off with the heat tool, and I did that because I wanted you to see how I moved the page around and how it changed as the drips moved and where the colours where they dried. And then I wanted to bring out some of that texture paste a bit more, and I do enjoy using waxes, and this one I'm using here is the Finnabair matte wax in Old White. I debated whether I wanted to go in with something like a bronzy colour or something like a gold, but I decided that the white, I just wanted it to be fairly subtle. Even though I wanted that texture to stand out, I didn't want it to become too much. I wanted it just to look quite natural. And I do have a metallic white as well, like a pearl white wax, but I wanted to go with that matte finish so that it sort of is tied in with that industrial kind of vibe. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to add stamping, but once I got to this point, I did feel like it did need something still to be added to the background. So I've gone in with this Studio Light Typewriter text stamp. It's fast becoming one of my favourites. It's just such an all-encompassing stamp that is good for so many things and excellent for just adding those background touches. And I'm going in with the Ground Espresso Archival ink. This ink I use a lot because it is a permanent ink when it's dry, and it also goes over lots of different surfaces. I find it is my favourite for art journaling, and you can get the minis in lots of colours, so you can have a variety without having all of those bigger ink pads to store and to pay out for. Then I'm just showing you here where I got my focal points from. Now, these are from the Maremi Industrial Bits and Bobs book. I did spend a bit of time really cutting these out. So I cut them out roughly, put them onto thin white card, then I cut very close to the edge, and I was really did spend some time with my fussy cutting on these, I have to admit. But I like sitting doing that, so it wasn't a problem for me. Then, because they are on the white card, they are more of a focal point element. I didn't want to blend them into the background, so I wasn't intending to do any shading or anything to raise them from the page. So instead I am adding in some textures. So this is where the title for this video came from, Tactile Textures, because there is lots of tactile textures in this spread. And so I'm going in with some gauze and a little bit of thread, which I like to do, and it just breaks up the background from the foreground and just gives your eye something to sort of separate the elements. And it's just a way that I really enjoy using different textures and elements on my page. So you can see that the bigger element is going over on the right hand side and the smaller one is at the top and then of the left. And then I'd also cut out a couple of these little clocks as well, just to add in some little extra embellishments to go on the pages. Now I am using Pinflair Glue Gel for this. You can buy it in a tube and then you can put it in a syringe and it just makes it easier. You can also get Collage glue gel, which does exactly the same job. It's sort of like a silicone glue, but without that really strong smell that I can't stand. Then I'm just adding in some sentiments from the Tim Holtz labels collection, and it's the Thoughts set. And I just chose 3 different ones that I thought went together and also with the spread, and just sticking them on with a bit more glue. So thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, it would be fabulous if you could do that too. And also, if you see that hype button, do feel free to hit that as well. At the end of the video, you will see a list of my lovely super supporters who are my YouTube members, so an extra big thank you to them as well. And until the next time, bye bye.